All right, Joe, I think we're going to crack on and get going. So, first of all, guys, thanks for joining the webinar with myself. My name's Harry from Fitness Empire. This is
Theo from Fitness Empire as well, and we're joined by Jao.
Hello, guys. How are you? João Delgado here in the US right now, but from Portugal. There you go.
Lovely. Just first of all, guys, I just want to say kind of what we do as Fitness Empire. Basically, we offer nutrition and training programs for aspiring athletes, particularly who want to go to the US on a scholarship. Our programs kind of have three main areas of focus. One of them being nutrition coaching, the second being personal training, and the third one being athlete education, which is also another really important part of what we do. In today's kind of webinar, we're going to go over a few things. Giles thankfully joined us, and he's going to talk about his pathway and the kind of journey he took and the experiences he had to become a professional footballer in the USL. So I'm sure it's going to be super interesting, crazy journey he's had. Theo's going to talk a little bit about some nutritional tips, his kind of top tips for soccer players, which maybe you can take away and can help you. And then we're also at the end going to talk a little bit about our plans and programs and what we do to help soccer players. So before we get started as well, guys, we have a Q&A section. So as we're going, feel free to put any questions you have in there. And at the end of the webinar, we'll try our best to answer them. So anything you want to ask to me, myself, obviously Theo or Jao, then throw it in there and we'll give you the best kind of information at the end. Okay. Lovely. So Jao, do you want to take it away?
Oh, sure. First of all, guys, really appreciate the invitation. I think it's a good opportunity for us to talk a bit about this opportunity and this pathway, and also for the kids to have their questions and to learn a bit about different journeys. So let's start from the beginning. Like, this journey started like 5 years ago when I decided to take the risk, like most of the players that will see the webinar coming to the US. Not saying that I didn't enjoy my life in Portugal. Portugal is an amazing country, don't take me wrong, but the opportunities were like not the best, you know, especially because the system in the US is different. Back home, you study and you play, but no one cares if you're doing both at the same time. There's no relationship there. And in the US is different. Also for your body, for your opportunities, soccer career, personal growth, and the US gives you that opportunity. So I came to the US, went to NAIA school, let's say literally in the middle of nowhere in West Virginia. It was around like 400, 500 students. And most of them were in the American football team. In the end, after I stayed 2 years, transferred to UCF in Orlando, where the classes are like probably the same size of the school in West Virginia. And after finished my master's degrees at Lynn University in Boca Raton. It looks like an easy journey. It looks like a very simple journey, like just step by step, but it was let's say a lot of rough times in different areas. It's not just like roses, let's say that, but in the end, I can tell it was like my best 4 or 5 years of my life so far. No question at all. But yeah, so far I play also summer leagues that helped me a lot with, let's say, with a journey to the professional environment. Meeting new people, meeting and playing for different coaches, playing with different players, and that helped me a lot regarding this pathway. So I think that was the journey with a little resume in the US so far.
Perfect. And that's obviously taking you now to be playing professionally in the USL. I guess from my perspective, the main questions that I have are all nutrition based. That's my bread and butter. So can you just run us through sort of the changes depending on the different schools and different times in your training cycle and over the 5 years that you were studying, and how your nutrition changed leading to your current habits?
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Like I can start even from Portugal. Imagine like my journey, my last year in Portugal before I came to the US was a very, let's say, hard working journey, because imagine I was studying in Lisbon. I was playing in a team like an hour and a half away. I was taking like a train twice a day, go and come back to Lisbon. I was, for example, eating in the train after practice, before practice. And you can tell like that's not going to be a proper meal if you want to be a professional soccer player. eating in the cafeteria in a rush in the university back home. So after a year, in the middle of the season, I got injured. Like I pulled my hamstring, and in the end, I don't go out much. Sometimes don't whatever, don't go out much. Enjoy life, like take care of my body, but all the time going back and forth, not having the proper regeneration, the proper let's say nutrition base, you're gonna get hurt. And that happened to me, and that was kind of a trigger point to change a bit of my life. And it also helped me to come to the US. In the US, you're probably not gonna like all the time what I'm gonna say, but there's a lot of, when you travel to the games, there's a lot of subways on the way. I don't know if you heard about it. It's not the best thing for a soccer player, but depend the schools, they also on a budget, you know. But in terms of, for example, the cafeteria options, let's say, even if when I was in of course it's different. West Virginia to Florida is a completely different lifestyle, you know, even the food, the style, like what you're gonna eat, what time you're gonna eat. I remember in West Virginia, the cafeteria open like at 6 a.m. and closes at 5:30 p.m. 5:30 p.m. for the last meal of your day, or you go to bed like at 7:30, or it's not gonna happen well, you know. It's not gonna help you. So in the end, it was like there's a lot of fried food sometimes in the cafeteria, so you need to play a bit around with your options and be responsible. But it's kind of in the US, imagine you have the options there, so it's just up to you. If you don't want to eat healthy, it's on you, you know, because like let's say the cafeteria, they always have the options, they have like good meals, so in the end it's on you. One thing that's funny, because in the US the options are like big. The biggest difference that I changed from Portugal to the US, I stopped drinking like sodas. I stopped drinking like Sprite. I stopped drinking like Coca-Cola, because here there's a lot of sugar on it. It's like insanely, you don't understand. It's like they put it on extra in everything. So that also helped me a lot. You know, I changed a bit. Even I spoke with like a nutrition friend, also a guy who studied nutrition in university. We decided to go on that way, and it helped me in my shape, in my fitness. For example, in my 5 years in the US, I had like one, hopefully so far, one minor injury, just a little bit on my right leg, and that's it in 5 years, you know. So in the end, it helped me. In Florida, imagine in Lean, for example, comparing even with UCF, Lean, the cafeteria was unbelievable. You even have like, for example, a veggie a station, you know, like you have everything organized. You have different meals every day. You have acai bowls, for example, on a Wednesday. You have lots of fruits, lots of healthy options. It was even a funny station. It was like just for international food. So every day, because it's a lot of internationals in the US, every day they have an international meal. So I think, like, just to wrap up, like my idea on the US is like they provide you the options, but they also provide you, like, let's say, the bad options, not just the good ones. You know, you have everything there. So it's up to you to decide what you want to take it, if you want to prefer like a healthier lifestyle, or if you want to go like to the burgers, French fries, and some Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Just a quick question, Joe. Did you see your kind of performance on the pitch change at all when you started kind of changing the way you ate and started eating kind of more vegetables, fruits and stuff? Did you feel like you had more energy, or you were playing better, or?
No, definitely. It changed. You can tell. Maybe you don't tell in the first like month or 2 months, but in a long run, definitely. In terms of like having you go to a point you're gonna play 3 games in a week. You know, you play Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. You know, 8 days you're gonna play like 3 games. So you need to take care of your body, because if not, it's gonna at some point it's gonna like it's not gonna work well. You know what I mean? And in the end, like, one thing that I changed a lot back home, you're very focused on the 3 meals. You know, like you have the breakfast, you have the lunch, you have the dinner. Yeah, you can have like a little snack in between, but for example, in these big meals, especially in Portugal, because the food is unbelievable, you know. But in the end, like in the US, I kind of, because the cafeterias, like most of the time, not in West Virginia, but in Florida, they were open 24 hours. I tried to start like a different nutrition base, and that was like 5 to 6 meals a day in a smaller portion, you know. So instead of having like 3 major meals and 1 snack in between. I had like 5-6 meals, and I'm like eating most of the time, even if it's just a little bite or a little snack. So you're like, your system is always like working, you know. So I think that helped me a lot for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, because for us, a lot of the athletes that we're already working with, especially for soccer players, it's so important to be eating throughout the day. Yeah. And the reason for this is, I mean, we have targets that we need to hit for our recovery. A major one that we can talk about is obviously protein. And if we were to break that down, in theory, you shouldn't be having more than 30 to 40 grams of protein in a sitting, but your targets might be over 150 grams. So if you do the quick math there, if you were having sort of only 3 meals, there's no way you'd be able to hit those targets. And it's the same for your micronutrients, carbs, fats. You want to spread them throughout the day so you can hit your targets and always sort of feel full and not feel like you're craving sugar or wanting to get some bad food in, which is so important. And I liked what you said as well about you've essentially come from Jow drinking fizzy drinks and eating Subway at some points to sort of having an idea. And that comes, like you said, from education, having the options available to you. And that's a big part of what we want to sort of talk about today and over the next 3 months, so that you guys listening in, when you go to the States in August, or if it is next year for you, you're ready to go, you're educated, and you can make the right choices in terms of what you're putting into your body. So yeah, thanks so much for that, Jow.
No, good.
I guess I'll sort of jump into a bit more nutrition-y stuff so we can get the show on the road. And I guess the first thing that I wanted to touch on is I'm going to be mentioning macronutrients throughout today's chat. And for you guys that don't know, that's going to be our carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Okay, so before we start, I just want to sort of dump some information on you to give you a bit of an idea of what they might look like for you guys. Carbohydrate might not mean so much to you, but you'll know pasta, you'll know rice, apples, fruits, vegetables, chickpeas, lentils. All these things are high in carbohydrates. On the other hand, you've got proteins. Again, lentils and chickpeas sort of cover both bases, so they're a good one. Salmon, nuts, cottage cheese, eggs, all good sources of protein. So keep this in mind as I'm talking today. If I say you want protein at this time of your training schedule, keep that in mind and think, oh, that means I should have eggs. That means I should have some salmon, cottage cheese with my salad. And the last one that I mentioned is your fats, okay? A lot of people think that if you eat fats, you're going to get fat, but that's definitely not the case, okay? Fats are good. And what they do is they actually prolong the energy that you have, because we want to get most of our energy from carbohydrates, okay? But if we run through our tank of carbohydrates, we need our fats to keep us going, okay? And these can be things like almonds, avocados, eggs as well have fats in them. And basically what we want to avoid with fats is saturated, okay? But eggs, for example, have about half of their fats come from unsaturated fats as well. So it's a very good option, okay? So I'm going to jump in. We're just going to share our screen now. Can you set that up? I'll set us up again. Okay. And basically what I'm going to do is talk through pre-training meals, during training, what we need for our nutrition, and post-training as well. Okay. So with pre-training, the most important thing is that your objective is to provide your body with fuel. Okay. And like I said before, this is going to be things like your carbohydrates. That's our best sort of source of fuel. Okay. This can come from, for example, we're going to break it down into 45 minutes before, 1 to 2 hours before, and 2 hours plus before. Okay. And 45 minutes before, what you're going to be looking for, I think you guys can see our screen coming up now. Okay. Is on the left there, we've got fruits. Okay. The reason for this is they're going to be easily digestible, and things like bananas and stuff and things like that, and apples. Okay. They're high in carbs, low GI carbs. So they're going to give you sustained energy. But they're easy to digest, okay? 1 to 2 hours before, you might be looking for something like a protein shake, and then 2 hours before, you can start to look at more full meals. So a chicken salad is a really good option. We can also look at omelets, brown rice, pasta, things like this, okay? And this is all obviously, again, like Jow said before, broken up into our day. You sort of want to be eating every 3 to 4 hours anyway, 3 hours. Okay, if you're having 5 meals, 6 meals. So that's where obviously your bigger meals like your chicken salad, your pasta are going to come in. Whereas in between and in the lead up to training directly, you're going to want something a lot more easily digestible. And it's important to note, guys, this means avoiding fats. Okay. Foods that are high in fats right before training, okay, they're hard for your body to digest. And that means you won't have enough time to get through them. Okay. So on to the next one that we have is during training. Okay. And the objective here is to essentially replenish the electrolytes which we're losing through sweat. And this is in our fat burning period, right? So the most important thing, and everyone obviously knows this, or I hope you know this, is you need to be drinking water. Okay. In terms of water, I speak to a lot of people and they usually tell me, yeah, I drink heaps of water. I'm drinking 1 liter, 2 liters a day. But as a soccer athlete, as a athlete in general, you need to be bumping that up to 3 liters every single day and looking at 4 liters, especially when you're training in high intensity. Okay. The next thing on the screen there is actually coconut water. That's like nature's energy drink, completely natural energy drink. Okay. So if you're just drinking water, especially for periods over 2 hours, you're actually going to become dehydrated. Like you want to sort of be replacing your electrolytes, like I mentioned before, which is like sodium, potassium, things like this, so that you can actually help your muscles to keep performing for you over a longer period. Okay. So this helps to replace muscle glucose, which, like I said before, is sweated out. And the ideal sort of foods to get this from would be like a banana. But again, most people when you're training, I know as a coach, I don't usually have a 15-minute break in the middle of my session. If we did have a 15-minute break, have a banana and then jump back on the field, but it's not really realistic for you guys as soccer players. So a more appropriate option is going to be your coconut water, like I've talked about, or a top tip for you guys is raisins in your water. Okay, if you just let it sit in there, okay, it's going to sort of sweeten the water up. You get all the sugars sort of flowing out of it. And when they come into your mouth, they'll be nice and soft. You can just chew through them. And again, we're thinking about digestion here. So we don't want anything that's going to be heavy sitting in our body. Okay. And the other point with that is on the side of water, we don't want to be gulping down the water, even if you're really dehydrated, even if you're really tired, really thirsty. Take your time, sip on your water, let it go in, because otherwise what you're going to get is a really full stomach full of water, and you're going to be heavy when you get back to training. Okay. And all of this, everything I've just said, we want to be doing essentially, I know this will depend on your coaches a lot, but every 15 minutes. If you can get a drink in every 15 minutes, that's going to be perfect. Okay. So with the soccer example, guys, I talked about 2 hours before. Obviously, a match is 90 minutes. So water's great, but especially if you know, for example, it's a knockout competition, you've got extra time coming up, your body is going to be needing those electrolytes to be replaced as well. So water's just not going to cut it going forward. Okay. And the last one that I sort of wanted to talk about, obviously, was the next step in the process, which is going to be your post-training. This is the muscle building phase. So you've burnt the fat during the workout, and now you're going to be building muscle. The way that we do this is by eating carbs and eating protein. Well, the muscle building comes from the protein, but we need to replace our energy, like I said before, which is from carbs. Okay. And with carbohydrates, we sort of split them into 2 sections. We have low GI carbohydrates, which are your, that stands for glycemic index, which are your long-lasting carbs, your long-lasting energy. And they're sort of things like whole grain pasta, whole grain rice. And then you've got high GI carbs, which is like your sweets and sugars. Okay. And that's not to say that there isn't a space for sugar in your diet, especially at the end of these games. We actually might need a little bit of sugar just to boost our blood glucose levels back up. And then you're going to get to your next meal and have a high carb meal, give yourself, really replenish your energy properly. You can see in the middle there, I've put within 45 minutes. This is for your protein. Okay. Your muscles are working, they're damaged. Okay. And what you get when you work out in the gym or on the field after a long session is little micro tears in your muscles, which is completely normal. But the way that we need to sort of fix these and help our body to recover going forward is by getting protein in. So I can imagine for you, we talked already to Joao, like there's a lot of traveling involved. He said he was on the train for an hour and a half in Portugal. And the same in the US, you're flying all over the place potentially, depending on the college that you're at, okay? But it's important to sort of be aware of having these meals ready, either by meal prepping to have that protein ready to go afterwards, or then if that's not possible, looking at a supplement. I'm sure you guys have heard of protein shakes, maybe used them before, okay? Very much a believer of if we can get it from Whole Foods, let's do it. Let's get the chicken in, let's get these high protein foods in, but sometimes the time taken to get home, cook up a big meal is gonna miss this time frame. So something to keep in mind, okay? And the other thing that we really wanna be getting into our diet after training is gonna be phytonutrients, which come from your vegetables. And this is why I'm sure you've heard a lot of people say, put as many colors of vegetables on your plate. And what phytonutrients do is they actually act as an anti-inflammatory agent. So I'm sure you might have had an ice bath before or be familiar with the concept. What this does is restrict the blood vessels, stop blood going to the muscles, and therefore help with the inflammation, help with the recovery and the muscle soreness going forward. Okay, phytonutrients do the exact same thing. They stop your muscles getting inflamed, they help you recover, and they get you ready to go at the next training. Your training schedule in the college system will be intense. Joao talked about 2-3 games a week sometimes, and that's not even including trainings. You need to give your body the best chance of being ready to go in the next session, okay? The main thing that I sort of wanted to touch on here for you guys is I can throw all the sciencey stuff at you, but at the end of the day, you want to know, what should I eat? Okay. And for me, I've put together sort of 6 top foods, and I'm going to explain each of them a little bit quickly for you, why I think they're important, okay, for soccer players. Number 1 is going to be eggs. Okay. I talked before, they have fats and protein. Okay. In particular, they also have amino acids in them, naturally occurring. And a lot of people try and supplement this, but it's not really necessary if you can eat eggs, for example. And 4 eggs would give you enough leucine, which is one of the most important amino acids that you need for your day. Okay, 4 eggs. And that's essentially what that does, is help with protein synthesis, which is a fancy term for your body using the protein to repair your muscles. Okay, number 2 is watermelon. As the name suggests, full of water. Okay, really good for hydration. And also the white part, I wouldn't avoid it. Okay, guys. If you are cutting up your watermelon, try and get the white part in it as well, because it has citrulline in it. And basically that's the stuff that helps with, your muscles and stuff like that. Okay. It's got heaps of antioxidants in it. And it's perfect for rehydration after training as well, and light and tasty. Okay. Number 3 is salmon. Okay. Super high in protein, and it's got omega-3 in it as well. Okay. A lot of fish, a lot of lean fish are really good options in terms of post-workout. Okay. Because they have the protein, and again, omega-3, which helps with protein synthesis that I talked about before. Okay. Pumpkin seeds. Be careful on this one. I'm not suggesting you go out, buy a bag and eat it all at once. Okay. A teaspoon or 2 teaspoons even is going to be like a nice little snack. It just sort of touches up on your micronutrients, your vitamins and your minerals that you might be losing again during training, or just that you need for everyday living. Okay. Particular, you've got iron in these, which is going to help with like your blood and the oxygen supply to your body, which is huge obviously for you as a soccer athlete. I know that, for example, professional players are running somewhere between like 14 to 16 kilometers in a game, right? And this is very stop start, but also very endurance. Okay. I've talked already about coconut water. For me, it is absolutely amazing. You are basically getting your hydration plus the sodium and potassium, which is high in it, to help with like your muscle function and nerve function as well. Okay. And the last one there is going to be lentils, high in protein and high in carbs. okay? Which if you're trying to, depending on your goal as an athlete, a lot of people that we speak to, they want to sort of build a little bit of lean muscle and lose body fat, right? In order to do this, in order to gain weight in any way, you're going to need to increase your calories. And this is broken down into your fats, your carbohydrates and protein. And obviously carbohydrates and protein in particular are really easy ways and good ways that we can bump up that calorie intake. Okay, so that's all from me. I know I've just offloaded a bunch of information onto you there, but I hope you've taken a couple of things away, and really do keep an eye out for these foods when you're over in the States. Hopefully you have them available at your cafeteria. If not, I'm sure there's a shop nearby that you can pick some of these up. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Harry to finish us off. And yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, nice one, Theo. Yeah, some really, really good tips there. Especially I can just, jot down and get to it straight away, which is handy. So I'm just going to touch on quickly, guys, a little bit about kind of what we're doing. Obviously, we're working with ASM Scholarships to kind of maybe offer some nutrition programs to players looking to go to the US, the coming year. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about what these programs kind of encompass and what you could expect to receive if you signed up for one of our programs. It's going to be a pre-season program, so we're going to be running it basically from next month, from May, all the way until you'll be going away to the States. So 3 months more or less. So basically, guys, fortnightly webinars. We'll be doing webinars, and this is part of the education aspect that we were talking about. Theo's obviously got heaps of knowledge. He's gonna tell you all about different foods and different elements of nutrition that you can incorporate into your life. We'll also be doing weekly kind of HIIT workouts. HIIT's a great way for you to train. We're going to be doing different challenges and prizes via social media where you can win different things, maybe some supplements or different kind of prizes that we'll be offering each week. Yoga, if you follow us on social media, you've probably seen already a short video from our yoga instructor, and she's going to be uploading videos. And this is kind of a really cool, unique aspect that we've tried to incorporate into the program. And this is more based around kind of your recovery and doing something a bit different than just being in a gym or on the pitch. And also kind of an important aspect we think is kind of mindfulness and having a good mentality to train and be the best kind of athlete you want to be. So that's a great addition to our programs. We also will be offering personal roadmaps. This is where either me or Theo or someone else from the team will sit down with you and talk about your goals and the best way for you to achieve them. So that's a really good kind of a tool to be able to visualize where you want to be and how you're going to get there. Personal meal plans. Again, someone from our team will speak to you and will personalize the things you want to eat and give you the best overall nutrition for that. Different nutrition exercise guides we also can provide you with. Supplement discounts. Theo briefly talked about supplements, and it's a great way to kind of get your protein and different nutrients into your body quickly. So maybe that could be an option for you, and we offer a discount with our programs. Also, personal training. Obviously, we're based in Barcelona, but it'll be over Zoom, and that's where you have one of our trainers with you and take you through some workouts and give you some top tips on ways to improve personally. And finally, one-on-one guidance, and that may be in the form of a weekly or fortnightly one-on-one chats to just see how you're doing and catch up and just be a source of information to guide you through your journey to becoming a professional footballer or soccer player. So finally, guys, just quickly here, there's going to be a 10% discount for anyone who wants to sign up to the programs. That will be tomorrow, so Monday. There'll be information on our social media or on ASM social media, and I'm guessing you'll probably receive an email with this 10% discount code if you sign up tomorrow. It's just going to be a 24-hour sale. So if you're interested, that could be a great way to jump onto that.
I guess we will do the Q&A now, or see if there are any questions floating around. If you have any, feel free to chuck them in the Q&A box.
we're dying to answer some questions. So anything you want.
Can be for Jao as well. We'll put it over to him if we can. Yeah, I just had one question for you, Jao. Yeah. I guess about you playing professionally now. Like, what nutrition stuff do you have available to you in terms of, like, is there a nutritionist on board with the club that you're currently at? What's the situation there?
No, definitely. No, he's a nutrition on board in the club. I think he's, for example, we only interact with one person, but I believe there's a team behind them, okay, in the different department. For example, if every practice, after the practice, we have a meal for individually for a player. For example, also regarding the weight of each player, they organize the type of meals you're gonna take it. So for example, I'm gonna take a different meal than a guy who's like 6'2", for example, you know, because I'm smaller than him. For example, also a lot of the protein shakes that you mentioned very well, fruits before the practice, after the practice. And one thing that you mentioned and is very important is the water. I think is a bit of underrated information that people don't understand. Drinking water is like, definitely it should be your main priority as an athlete, you know, instead of like having, like I said, again, a can of soda or a fancy orange juice that you don't even know what's there, especially in the US. You just should focus on water. Because, for example, I'm playing in Arizona. I was playing in Florida before, and it's crazy different, you know, so humid in Florida, and after like 5 minutes outside, you feel that you just took a shower. And in Arizona, you're not sweating at all. You don't feel any sweat. And you lost like, I don't know, 7 pounds, you know, like just like this in a 30-minute practice, you know. So in the end, if you don't take care of those details, and especially for athletes who coming to the US from different states, you still need to get like just paying attention, adapt to that circumstances, and focus on the water because it's very important.
Perfect.
Yeah, lovely. Just another one, Jao. What's kind of your go-to kind of favorite kind of food you like to eat in kind of day-to-day life?
And you can say a bad food if it is.
No, first of all, like I love fish. I'm from Portugal though, close to like in the ocean. So in the end, I eat a lot of salmon. Not saying just to be nice, you know, but it's a reality. I really like fish. I don't know, like one big thing that I eat a lot is avocado. I love avocado toasts. Just a random salad today, I'll put avocado in just because. And one thing I like a lot is dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate. Yep. And before, for example, the sweets in Portugal are outrageous. It's like very hard to run away from it. In the US, fortunately, they're not very good. So it's good for you as an athlete. But I change a bit of like the just normal chocolate that you not have a lot of information to the dark chocolate. Yeah. So those are like, let's say, my favorite ones from here.
Perfect. Awesome. So for the slideshow, Jonathan's asking, we can make it available to your email, basically. So if you just send, well, I guess we'll send it out to everyone's email. Just it'll be there. And if you want to review it, you can absolutely have an idea of the foods that we're talking about.
Yeah, and also on our social media, we'll be uploading, you know, very similar information. So you can, you know, obviously take stuff from there. Yeah, should be handy.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, yeah, thanks for joining, guys. And also thanks to Jao and obviously Theo for giving us great information and whatnot and talking about your experience. I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, we'll call it there. Thanks so much, guys.
Cheers for coming.
Have a good day.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
See you later. There's still people in. Jonathan, sorry, mate. We just saw your question. What I was gonna do, I've got you on Instagram, so I'll get in touch with Jao and I will get that question answered for you. Okay. I hope you have a good day, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
See you later. You remember that question?
Yeah, I'll copy it.